Yo, what's up, everyone? We are back. We are ready to continue from where we left off. Hopefully, this will be equally as exciting as the first part. I have already seen it, so I know it will. But I'm ready to break it down. I'm ready to see a couple of things that I didn't pay attention to, and see a couple of new things. And yeah, let's get to it. And I won't say any more.
Rayclast has been free from any sources of corruption, but the Count of Ogham, tempted by promises of power, intends to harness it once more. The dead are rising, monsters are mutating, and madness is spreading.
Bro, that looked insane. His head is falling right there. Bro, there's a pile of them. Holy. That looked crazy. Is this like the Act 1
Under
Butcher?
the dark influence of corruption, the Count doles out sentences of death to any who would
Damn.
question him. And this is where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2. Explore the dark forests of Ogham, traverse the barren plains of the Vesteri Desert, and delve into the jungle ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val
Delve
city.
in the jungle?
There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost camps and treasures, roaming merchants, and of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same.
There was a little bit of a lag here and some technical difficulties, I remember. Wait, so it's like priests and then like a massive skeleton elephants type deal?
It falls to you to track down the seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations.
Ah, that looks cool.
But first, you'll need to pick a class. Now, Early Access will initially have 6 classes available. Let's have a look at them. The Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat.
Give me 1 second. I believe we gotta move it forward just a wee bit here because it's not on my part or anything. It's just there was some problems on the stream right in the beginning. They fixed it right away and there was nothing else after that. But I think personally that it's a really good choice that they chose to bring back some of the original mechanics from PoE 1. So there is some stuff that's just semi-familiar, you know what I mean? Instead of like being completely like you have no idea what's happening. Now at least we have a couple of things in here, like the breaches, which is like familiar, right?
Precious. Those who
Power intends to harness. There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing where you find yourself at the start of PoE 2.
Okay, here we go.
Explore the dark
Now we're
forests of
rolling.
Ogham. Traverse the barren plains of the Vesteri Desert.
Looks beautiful.
And
Looks
delve
so
into the
freaking
jungle
beautiful.
ruins of Utsal, an ancient Val city. There are challenging monsters, hidden runes, lost
Wow.
camps and treasures, roaming merchants,
So many
and
details.
of course, unique bosses. No two areas are the same. It falls
That,
to you
oh
to track
my
down the
god.
seed of corruption, the source of all this devastation. On the way, you'll face fearsome monsters, meet strange characters, forge unlikely bonds, and uncover lost civilizations. But first, you'll need to pick a class.
Honestly,
now, Early
this
Access
is
will initially have
crazy.
6 classes available. Let's have a look at them.
This is
The
wild.
Monk is a fast and furious melee fighter. He dashes in and out of combat and has mechanics that involve building up and keeping momentum. Like all classes in PoE 2, you'll want to use a wide variety of skills to mix and match different combos. To get new skills, you will first need to find skill gems. Using a skill gem will open the gem cutting menu, which shows all the active skills available in PoE 2. You can
Falling Thunder. That sounds kind of cool. Glacial Cascade. Killing Palm. Frozen Lotus. Okay. Staggering Palm. Tempest Bell. Vaulting Impact. Oh, that sounds cool. Wind Blast. Ice Strike. Tempest Fury. Wave of Frost. Siphoning Strike. Ooh. Storm Wave. That sounds fucking cool too. Holy. Charge Staff. Mantra of Destruction. Hand of Cholula. That sounds fucking insane too. Withering Assault. Shattering Palm. Flicker Strike. Ooh. I just now am building a Flicker Strike on PoE 1 and it is insane. So if that is anything like that, that could be a really good thing to play. Holy moly.
choose an existing skill to level up, or choose to engrave a new one. Since this is a level 7 skill gem, even if you pick a new skill, it will immediately be level 7. So there's no...
That is brilliant. That is smart. Because one of the major annoyances with PoE 1 is, let's say you start a build out and you're playing, let's take the Trickster for instance, right? And you start out by playing Jung's Power Siphon build, and then you gotta swap into Lightning Strike like later down the line. It's kind of like you have to have your second-hand weapons to level up your gems that you want to use for your Lightning Strike, so you don't have to put level 1 gems in there. This makes so much more sense that you find, like, as you get to the more end game situation, you're basically gaining like gems that are already leveled, so you don't have to spend a whole lot of time in lower level content just in order to get back to the power. That makes total sense. Let's read this one. Freezing Mark. It's an attack AoE Mark cold duration Nova. Okay. Mark a target, making them more susceptible to being frozen. When the marked target dies, a cold nova erupts from their corpse. Wow, that sounds cool. This nova does not use your weapon damage, but instead uses its own base attack damage. Okay. Limit one marked target. Mark duration is 8 seconds. Hits against the mark causes 28% more freeze buildup. Wow. Okay. So the numbers here look a little bit more... it looks a little lower, if that makes sense. It doesn't look nearly... Maybe I'm mistaken.
Trying out something new. The monk primarily uses the quarterstaff. There are 3 schools of martial arts: lightning, ice, and wind. But don't think you have to stick to just one. The
It's
best
like
combos
whirlwind.
are going to involve mixing elements of all 3. Let's try Killing Palm. Like many monk skills, this can be used to quickly take advantage of a specific situation. If there's an enemy on low life, you can use Killing Palm to dash to them and kill them instantly. This will provide a power charge. Then we could use a different skill to consume that power charge for a much more devastating attack.
That reminds me of the monk from Diablo 3 for some reason. That part right there.
The monk also has powerful combo skills. Tempest Bell, for example, is a skill that places a giant resonating bell. Hitting the bell causes it to ring, dealing damage to all enemies around it. You can also do things like freeze or shock the bell, which will add element.
There was a bell attack to the monk in Diablo 3. Not like that though. But where you pulled like a big bell down over your body and it like shot out we could call it a clone of the character in like 7 different directions. I remember that build. That was kind of crazy. And then they had another build called Exploding Palm, where you had to build up stacks of something. I don't really remember. It's 10 years ago I played the game. But there was something about stacking up something and then releasing it all at once, and it blew up the whole entire screen of monsters just in one tab. Once you had built up and you got like the confirmation that they were ready to get exploded. That shit was crazy though. This looks it looks better honestly, because it's the idea of the attacks but just made incredibly, or like a lot better in my opinion.
Damage to the strikes. The monk also has a variety of abilities to empower his staff. If an enemy is close to being stunned, you can use Staggering Palm to punch them down.
What is this over here actually? Is that like a waypoint? That almost looks like some kind of like a waypoint, or maybe it's like a it's not a shrine, but something you can interact with of some kind. Actually, it looks like it could go down. So you walk out here and it would like take you underneath here or something.
After that, any attack you do will shoot out wind projectiles. There are 21 active skills for quarterstaves, so this just scratches the surface of the options that you...
Right, there's 21 active skills, but there's more so because you could combine them with skills and shit from the other builds.
You have. By endgame, you'll be dashing from pack to pack, spewing projectiles and obliterating screens of enemies with huge combo attacks.
There
If
we
you
go,
like
that's a
style of melee
shrine.
that's a little slower, but hits much harder than the warrior is for you. He pounds the ground with big chunky attacks and can shrug off the hits of small enemies with large amounts of armor. Even though the mace slams are slow,
This is one thing I really, really fucking think is like super innovative. This part, because there's so few games that
never
does
lose
this.
control. Longer attacks can be retargeted as you go, and if you find yourself committed to a long attack, you can dodge roll out of it.
Look, that is just making the game 100% more skill based, and I like that. That makes the game have a skill gap, right? Because now you actually physically have to react to the attacks, and you can dodge out of an attack you already started performing, and that is just brilliant. That is brilliant. See, one of the biggest issues, sometimes at least, with, for instance, on Diablo 2 playing the Mosaic Assassin is once you push your button to release your charges, you're basically stuck in this kicking animation. Even if you're not hitting an enemy, you're still just stuck in the 7 kick animation, and you can't like move out of it until she's done kicking. So being able to like basically move out of an active skill is brilliant. That is brilliant. It makes for a lot more
Among the skill options for
interesting
maces,
fights, right? Let's look at the skills here. Earthquake, Bone Shatter, Rolling Slam, sounds cool. Shield Charge, Armor Breaker, Shockwave Totem, Infernal Cry. So that's like a war cry. Perfect Strike, that sounds kind of cool too. Resonating Shield. Wow, that sounds really cool too. That could be like they hit your shield and then they take damage. That would actually be kind of cool. Leap Slam, Earth Shatter, Shield Wall. Oh, Sparta. Sunder, Volcanic Fissure. That sounds kind of sick too, though. Seismic Cry, Supercharged Slam, Stampede, Ancestral Warrior Totem, and Hammer of the Gods. That's the one that we saw that you call down from the sky. That reminds me a little bit of the anchor that the Pirate Lord from Kingsmarch has. Wow.
you will find a variety of slams, fire attacks, war cries, and shield skills. Here, I'm going to slam the ground, rending it apart with lines of fire. Any slam skill will then cause these fissures to erupt with lava.
Ah, it looks so
You can even
good,
run through them
man.
with a skill like
Looks so
Stampede to do
freaking
huge
cool.
amounts of damage. The warrior can also use war cries, which can empower your next skill.
Bro, look at that dude. He's like a tree mixed with something else. That looks super cool. Got like skulls on his shoulders and like a big light in his chest. That looks
Seismic
fucking
cry, for
cool as hell, man.
example, will double any slams from the next.
Bro, that dude is mad cool.
Stampede counts as a slam, so I can double that for even more craziness. If you want to go a little faster and be a little more defensive, equip a shield. In PoE 2, you can raise your shield at any time to block all damage from the front, even spells. While holding up your shield, your stun meter will...
See, that is legit a skill gap. That's how you create a skill gap, is by implementing mechanics that can be used to better your gameplay, but it takes knowledge and know-how to use them
build as you take
and where
damage,
you want
so
to.
be careful. If it reaches 100%, your stance will break and you will be vulnerable. Some enemies also have unblockable attacks, which are indicated by this red flash.
Okay,
If you
okay.
see one of these coming, make sure to dodge out of the way. Using a shield also gives you access to shield skills, like shield charge, which allows you to charge towards enemies and stun.
Whoa. Bro, that wall he just put up looks so fucking cool. What?
While charging, you're also blocking the whole time, so you have full damage immunity from the front.
Yo, this is so the fucking Wookiee town in the trees from Star Wars. This is giving me that flavor 100%. Oh my goodness, that's super cool.
The warrior also has access to totems. Some totems have built-in abilities, like Shockwave Totem, which can be placed to stun nearby enemies.
That makes sense, right? Like, this makes sense for a totem that is an active damage dealing like entity.
Trigger aftershocks like those from the earthquake.
That's
You can
super
also-
cool. That's super fucking cool. Let's see what it says. Ancestral Warrior Totem. Totem AoE melee physical duration meta. Oh, so it actually, okay. Raise a totem that uses socketed mace skills. Oh, kind of like the ballistas I had with the lightning arrow. Oh, I see. Totem duration is 8 seconds. Limit of totems is 1. Totem-based attack time is 1 second. Oh, okay, so there's like a second between the attacks. Fair. Totem uses its own power, its own weapon, dealing 59 to 89 base physical damage. Wow. Requires a one-hand mace or a two-handed
You get
mace.
ancestral warrior totems, which allow you to use any slam skill in your repertoire. This is a meta skill, which means that it's a skill you can put other skills into. I can take a slam like Sunder and socket it into my ancestral warrior totem. Now when I summon him, he'll sit there and slam the monsters from a distance.
I love that.
There are 20 active skills for maces, so there's a lot more to try out. But by endgame, you're going to be dropping hammers from the sky, leaping fearlessly into combat, and separating the very earth you stand on.
I like it. That
Time
is
for
just
ranged attacks.
absolutely
The ranger is
phenomenal.
primarily about the bow, but we wanted to make sure that she feels agile as well. In PoE 2, you can shoot while moving. Combined with all the skills the ranger has that allow you to jump around, you will have a lot of mobility in combat. Bow skills have a variety of light.
Let's see it then. Lightning arrow, escape shot, poisonous burst arrow, lightning rod, storm color arrow, snipe, oh, vine arrow, barrage, that sounds awesome too, toxic growth, electrocuting arrow, sniper's mark, gas arrow, volcanic mark, okay, rain of arrows, nice, detonating arrow, ooh. Oh, I know now. That's for detonating the toxic clouds. Oh, okay. Ice shot. Chaining arrow. Oh, shock chain arrow. And tornado shot. Ooh. I like
Lightning,
it.
poison, ice, and physical attacks. Lightning attacks bounce around between targets. You can also stick lightning arrows in the ground which explode when hit by the bouncers, or electrocute enemies to take them out of combat. Ice attacks allow you to slow and freeze enemies to keep them away from you.
The lightning and ice effects and shit, it looks exceptionally cool, but it feels a little bit like they tuned down the what's it called, crazy visuals, so it's a little bit more, there's a little bit less visual clutter, it seems like. It's a little bit easier to tell actually what's happening as you're playing, it looks like, but it could be once you get to like the real end game that it's so
Using
extreme
poison
that
not
you
only
can
will
barely
slowly
see
damage
anything.
your enemies from afar, but also grow some interesting plants. With 21 bow skills and all the mobility and combo tools the ranger has, you can take advantage of every situation. By endgame, you'll be creating hundreds of arrows, be they falling from the sky, bouncing around between enemies, or spraying out of tornadoes. You might have noticed in the bottom left of the screen that the flask slots look a little different. In PoE 2, you have one dedicated life flask slot and one mana flask slot. Flasks gain charges as you kill enemies, and typically allow you to heal 6 or 7 times if they're full. But that's not the only thing you can use charges for. Charms are a new item type that will
Yo, so honestly, I think the choice to go 1 mana, 1 life flask is actually a really good choice here. Because if you think about it, right, it's not, with PoE 1, it's not the biggest of issues having to have your, so the way I play, I usually use Q, W, E, and R, and T as my attacks. So I always have my hand or my fingers on those buttons, and the buttons that goes right above Q, W, E, and R and T is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it takes a little bit of time to get used to the button presses, but once you get used to it, it's not too bad drinking your utility flasks. But it takes quite a while to get used to using them constantly, because it's something you kind of forget in the middle of playing when you're a new person. And it is a little bit, what should I call it, unclear what mod on the flask is best for which build, right? Like, it might seem like something is good for your build, and then you put it on and it doesn't really work. So, my thought process is, if we are using A, W, S, and D to move the character around, so if you want to walk forward or backwards, you're using your W, ASD, right? If you had to press those, and you have to press your skill buttons to use your skills, and you have to press your buttons, now we are talking about basically double the amount of buttons you have to learn exactly where they're sitting on the keyboard, and you have to memorize it. So you can, I think it's a better choice to take a couple of the buttons out in order to put the other buttons in that do other things. So now we got the movement on buttons instead. We don't have the utility flasks, and I find that actually like a very good idea.
automatically defend you from various debuffs or damage types. Having trouble with getting frozen? Equip a thawing charm. When it's fully charged,
That's another thing, right? Charms is a brilliant idea, and not having the Diablo 2 situation where you're filling your whole fucking inventory with them, but you have a dedicated spot to them, so much better. So
will make you
much
immune
better.
to freeze for 3 seconds if you get frozen. To recharge them, just kill more monsters. You can gain more slots for charms by upgrading your belt. The mercenary wields a crossbow that can be loaded with different ammo types, offering versatility, power, and mobility. All classes in Path of Exile 2 can be controlled with WASD, which makes this class play exactly like a shooter. For the
I'm a little bit torn because there's like 3 different things I really want to play. I kind of like this build.
crossbow, you will
I
find
really
skills that
do.
look like shotguns, sniper
think this
rifles,
is cool
assault
as
rifles,
fuck.
and even grenade launchers. But not only that, there are a wide variety of more interesting elemental ammos too. It's very fast to switch between ammo types, so long as you already have them loaded, which makes the mercenary able to combo abilities together for devastating effect. Use Glacial Bolt to create walls of ice to separate enemies, then switch to Fragmentation rounds to explode the ice, dealing massive AoE damage. If I come across an armored enemy, I could use armor-piercing rounds to break their armor, and then high-velocity rounds to take them down.
Wow,
Or
looks
perhaps I could
super
fire a
cool.
gas grenade to poison enemies before detonating the cloud with an explosive shot for massive damage.
Looks so cool.
If you want to
And the
call-
combination of the idea of being able to combo attacks together and make them do more damage because you're combining certain things, as in you're throwing the gas cloud down and then you're exploding the gas cloud for a massive AoE explosion. I really like the idea of having combinable skills that has an effect when they're cast on each other. It makes so much more sense than having a skill that you can cast and you can, like, let's say rolling magma on PoE 1. You throw up your flame wall, you throw the rolling magma through the flame wall, and it does more damage. And you can tell from the little ball that you're like throwing out, the little fireball, that it becomes more or engulfed in flames when it goes through the firewall. I really like those features. I think they are exceptionally smart and they create even more of a skill gap, and I really like that.
While in some suppressing fire, you can summon artillery ballistas. These have a minimum range, so you'll want to prepare your position carefully before moving in. There are 22 active skills for crossbows. By endgame, you'll be calling destruction down from the sky as you litter the battlefield with grenades and pepper your enemies with your automatic shotgun. If you're looking to take a back seat and let your minions do the work, then the Witch should be your choice. She can call forth hordes of undead monsters to fight for her while casting powerful chaos spells that debilitate her enemies. Occult skills are some of the most varied in the game, with skeletons, noxious spells, specialty minions, curses, and sacrificial magic. Before we talk about minions, we'll have to talk about a new resource in Path of Exile 2 called Spirit. This is a Spirit Gem, which allows you to pick from a range of persistent skills. All classes have a variety of these skills.
Ooh. Grim Feast. Withering Presence. Blasphemy. Barrier of Invocation. Cast on minion death. Oh. Cast on crit. And Sacrifice. Oh. Okay.
Which can add some very interesting effects, like Arctic Armor, which does cold damage to enemies that hit you, or Raging Spirits, which summon fiery skulls each time you cast a fire spell. For the Witch, though, we'll want to be using our Spirit to create permanent minions. These minions will be revived automatically when they die.
Thank fuck for that. That's brilliant. Instead of having to recast them constantly whenever they die, they just respawn.
So you don't have to worry about resummoning them all the time.
Oh my god.
Here, I'm using the skill screen to allocate which minions I would like in my horde. You can see the spirit cost of each one. Skeletal warriors are cheap, but weak. Useful for tanking damage and distracting enemies.
Oh, the spirit is over here. Okay, the spirit is the yellow bar that goes around your mana. I don't know if you
Heavy
noticed.
hitters in my army.
See.
So I'm going to unsummon some
Right there. There's a yellow line, which is indicating your spirit.
warriors and instead add skeletal arsonists.
That's cool.
Permanent minions come with special active abilities called command skills. You can order these guys to detonate your own minions for even more damage and area of effect.
Oh.
If you want a bigger army, you'll need a scepter. This
Whoa. Grants level 7 skeleton warrior minion. That's cool. So you're basically granted a skill off your item. I like that. That is really cool. That is basically one of my favorite things about Diablo 2 is you can get skills on your weapons that are not on your class specifics. Or it is a class specific skill, but since it's on a weapon, you can now use it on a different class best example of that would be Enigma, which is an armor that provides you with +1 level to teleport, which is normally only found in the sorceress skill tree. And now, once you have the armor equipped, any character in your any of the other characters can now teleport, and it makes for a lot faster clear speed. So I really like that idea. Let's see what it has. Spirit, mana, allies in your presence deal 39% increased damage. That's cool. Allies in your presence have 21% accuracy rating. That's cool. +1 all minion skills. Wow, okay.
New weapon type is imbued with even more spirit.
That's
allowing
only
you
a
to
level
summon
22
even more
though.
friends. And if you want an even bigger army than that, you can take advantage of corpses to summon true hordes of minions.
Oh
But
shit!
what can a witch
You can keep some... Bro. Now I'm starting to think... That's one thing I did not catch on to yesterday. Holy fuck. Okay, so... The Necromancer in Diablo 2 can literally summon like an army of 50 to 60 summons or minions that you're running around with on the screen. Back in the day when I was young and started playing, we used to call that specific build that would summon like 40 plus minions. We used to call that Crash Masters, because every time you went into a game and there was a summon necro in there and he started summoning everything, everybody crashed. It's too much happening. They definitely fixed that later down the line, but it was so bad in the beginning. But it was one of the most fun things, was running around with like 40 fucking minions around you, just letting them slay everything, and you just walk behind them, curse everything, and do a little bit here and there. So really like that.
While her army is at work. Well, she has a range of chaos spells to spread disease amongst your enemies, or bone skills to impale them. Or, you know, you could curse them to make them weaker so your horde can take them down. There are 25 active occult skills. By the endgame, you will be the leader of a fearsome army of the dead, consuming everything in its path. The sorceress bends the elements to her will, using them to unleash devastation on her foes. This classic
The fact that you can move and cast at the same time. So the fact that you can run forward, backwards, sideways, and be casting all at the same time is brilliant. It makes for that's gonna be way better gameplay experience.
The elemental skills
Holy
have everything
fuck.
you might expect and more. Fireballs, icy explosions, lightning storms, you get the idea. Each spell is unique and has many different ways to build and combo with others, even between different elements. For example, Flame Wall conjures a burning line that not only damages enemies, but also empowers...
That's what I'm talking about right here. You see how the lightning is all of a sudden engulfed in flames, so all the little lightning parts has flame parts on them, because she's firing them straight through the firewall, so you're basically affecting one of your skills with a second one of your skills by casting that skill somewhere on the screen and then casting the second skill through the first skill. It enhances that second skill, and that is brilliant because it makes for a lot more combos, a lot more build, a lot more diversity in builds. I like that.
Pass through it. If you place a wall and fire lightning sparks through it, they'll gain extra fire damage. It's a good idea to take advantage of the ability to automatically swap weapons when you use certain skills. Having a special staff with bonuses to fire skills and another with bonuses to lightning skills can really power up a combo like this. The sorceress can also take advantage of powerful trigger gems. For example, you could grab the Cast and Ignite gem and use it with Firestorm. As you ignite enemies, a counter will go up in the top left corner. When it's full, a Firestorm will automatically be cast at the enemy that was ignited.
That's
There are
super
25
good.
active elemental skills. By endgame, you'll be firing off projectiles left and right.
That looks a little bit, but that looks a little bit like my Ice Nova build right here. Just the electric version of it. Holy. I kind of like the look of this,
As you
though.
rain down elemental storms on your foes. Now, those are the characters that will be available at the start of early access, but we will be adding 6 more character classes with just as many skills and options as these. There's a lot more to come. There's one more important thing to mention about skills.
Ooh, let's see. Ice Nova, Spark, Frostbomb, and Flame Wall. I'm guessing this is the Sorceress. Orb of Storms, Frostbolt, Emperor of Fusillade. Okay. Arc. Ooh. Incinerate. Nice. Solar Orb. Oh, that sounds cool. Cold Snap. Flammability. Hypothermia. Conductivity. So that would be curses or something, yeah? Frostball. Lightning Warp. Oh, that sounds cool. That, I'll have to see that. Mana Tempest, Fireball, Firestorm, Ball of Lightning. I think that's what we just viewed, actually. Comet. Oh, that sounds cool too. Temporal Chains, Flame Blast, Eye of the Winter, or Eye of Winter, and Lightning Conduit. Okay. There's a couple of things here that just sounds
Even though we talk about them as belong to
super
each
cool. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So that would be the Necromancer type deal, or the Witch. Contagion. Skeletal Warrior. Skeletal Sniper. Unearth. Enfeeble. Okay. Essence Drain, yeah. Arsonist, a skeleton arsonist. That sounds fucking insane. Bone Cage. Oh, that okay. Ray Zombie, skeletal frost mage. Ooh. Pain Offering. Bone Storm. Detonate Death. Vulnerability. Blind Scepter. Ooh, okay. Profane Ritual. That sounds cool too. Despair, skeletal reaver. Okay. Dark Ifigi. I don't know how to say that. Sorry if I slaughtered that one. Bone Offering, skeletal storm mage. Oh, that sounds cool too. Hex Blast. Ooh, nice. Skeletal brute. Oh, skeletal cleric. What? Soul offering. Bro, this sounds insane.
class.
Oh, we
In
already
reality,
looked
there
at
are no
that.
restrictions.
Let's see what that is. Ooh, that's the crossbow. Okay. Explosive grenade. Fragmentation round. So that would be your shotgun, your grenade launcher, and armor piercing rounds. Permafrost bolts. Okay. Flash grenade. High voltage rounds. Ooh. Incinerary shot. That sounds super cool too. Gas grenade. Rapid shot. Ice shards. Galvanic shards. Okay. Ripwire ballista. Ooh. Voltic grenade. Explosive shot. Glacial bolt. That sounds cool too. Artillery ballista. Ooh. Oil grenade. I guess you put an oil grenade down and then you explode it with a fire something and then it stays on fire. That would be what I would imagine. Storm blast bolts. Hailstorm rounds. Shock burst rounds. Emergency reload. Okay. Seed cascade. Plasma burst. A blast. Oh. Cloister grenade sounds insane. Yo, I don't know what to play.
Restrictions. You can use
We saw
all
that
these
one.
skills
We saw
on
that
any
one.
class, so long as you have the attributes.
Okay.
For example, a poison ranger might want to try out using occult curses to increase her poison damage, or a monk might want to trigger elemental ice walls to use with his glacial cascade combo. The possibilities for cross-class combos are practically unlimited. We're looking forward to what kind of things you guys might find. Now, Path of Exile is a game known for build customization, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what is possible yet. So let's talk about support gems. Path of Exile 2 has a system of support gems that can be combined with your active skills.
Yo, we'll call it right here. We'll make the next one the gems, and then I'll catch you all in the next one.